discussing with you particular constitutional rights and protections that you're allowed. The first one is the right to remain
There's
silent.
no way,
Sir?
there's no
Yep.
way that, like you
Yes,
said,
sir.
you're gonna give me suppressed evidence. I was gonna ask you, yeah, yes, sir.
I'm having trouble understanding you, sir. Would you repeat what you said?
Yes, sir.
Say yes, sir.
Judge, I believe it's the background, the individual that's sitting next to him that's answering to a different judge.
All right. Mr. Paschal, you have the right to remain silent. That means that no one can make you make any kind of statement, answer questions, or submit paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. Do you understand you have the right to remain silent?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You have the right to a jury trial. That means you and your attorney and the state could select 6 people from a jury panel of disinterested citizens to hear the entire trial, all the evidence and testimony, materials, whatever, and decide whether you're not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That's the right to a jury trial. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to confront witnesses. That means that if you decided to go to trial, the state would have to put up testimony from witnesses, and you and your attorney would have the right to question, cross-examine, or challenge any witness who would testify. You understand that you have that right?
Sir.
Is also called the right of appeal. That right means that you or your attorney or the both of you could demand that that a higher court review the official record being prepared and the evidence to decide any kind of legal challenge that you wanted to make. You'd have to follow some
Yes, sir.
strict rules and time limitations and the correct forms to do it. But that's basically called the right to appeal. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
There's also, sir, a right to conduct this hearing in the open public courtroom. You have the right to demand that. But because of the COVID pandemic, we're doing this proceeding by video conference. Do you understand that in order to proceed, you have to consent to the video conference?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, you did review and sign a document saying that you consent to the video conference. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. Mr. Mr. Piker,
Yes,
did you review with Mr. Paschal all the documents that he has signed and that we're making part of the record in this proceeding?
yes, we did.
Is it your opinion that he understood what he signed?
Yes, he did.
Now, did you also yourself sign one document in particular that says that the state has in fact provided to you under 39.14 Code of Criminal Procedure all the discovery that was necessary for you to make a learned counsel to your client?
Yes, I did sign that.
All right, Mr. Paschal, I'm going to talk to you about several other documents. One is called Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. That particular document identifies you, and you say in there what you're pleading to, how you're pleading. It tells you and repeats to you in 15 numbered portions or sections the different discussions of your rights and protections that you have that have already been discussed, but it tells them to you in writing. Do you know what I'm talking about as far as what you signed?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
All right. And one particular matter is that the deal that you and your attorney have made with the state is not binding on me as a judge. I have the authority and responsibility to say yes or no to your deal. I can also give you a punishment that's within the—
Your Honor,
Yes.
we lost Ms. Rivera for a minute there.
Lost who?
Kayleen, she popped out for a minute there.
Okay. Are you back, Kayleen? Kayleen, are you back?
Yes, sir, I'm back. The last thing I heard you say is that the deal is not binding on you.
All right. As a judge, I have the authority and responsibility to review that deal, and I must say yes to it or no to it. One or the other. I also have the authority to give you any punishment in the range of punishment for the offense to which you are pleading, even if the punishment is greater or heavier than what you agreed to. Now, if I refuse your plea bargain, or if I give you a punishment that's greater than what you agreed to, in either one of those two cases, the law would allow you to start all over again, and nothing that you said or anything that you signed would be used against you if you started over. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
There's also another document wherein you are reminded that because this is a plea bargain, you do not have a right of appeal. Did you see and understand and sign that document?
Yes, sir.
All right. Finally, you have made a plea bargain agreement with the state. And the state, if you'd be kind enough, would you inform me of what that plea bargain is? How is he going to plea?
No
Your Honor,
contest.
the paperwork reflects that it would be a no contest plea. The agreement is for 15 months deferred adjudication, $400 fine plus court costs, 40 hours community service, attend and complete BIP, Batterers Intervention and Prevention Program. No contact with the victim. Let me know when you're ready for her name.
No contact with?
Jasmine, Jazmyn. Last name is Zasquez, Z-A-S.
V like a
U.
Victor?
No, Z as in zebra, Your Honor.
Z.
Actually, Judge, it is a V.
It is a V?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So it is Vasquez then.
Yes.
V-A-S?
Quez.
And it ends with a Z.
Correct, Your Honor.
Vasquez, okay. No contact at all.
Correct.
All right.
And then the state is requesting an affirmative finding of family violence, but I believe the defense attorney would like to speak to you on that. I see Ms. Rivera has dropped out again.
Judge, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I got disconnected again.
Alrighty, are you back now?
Yes, I heard you saying the state is requesting an affirmative finding.
The family violence, okay, that's what, is that the agreement from the state's point of view?
Yes, Your Honor, but I believe Mr. Piker would like to speak to you regarding the finding of family violence.
I understand that, okay. Now, let's talk about something, Mr. Paschal. First of all, deferred adjudication is I need you to listen very carefully. Deferred adjudication is a written, legal, binding agreement. You're giving your word and you're signing your name that you will live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. Every bit of it. As long as you do, you don't see me again, and this case will wind up being dismissed and you're not convicted of it. If you violate the conditions or refuse to live up to your word and your conditions, then what happens is the state may ask me to give you notice, bring you in for a hearing. And at that point, if I believe it, then I can enter a final conviction that'll follow you the rest of your life. And I get to look at the entire range of punishment. This is a class A, is that correct?
Yes,
Yes, Your Honor.
That means a fine from $0 to $4,000 and jail from 0 days to 1 year. Is that very, very clear, Mr. Paschal?
Sir,
All right. Now, at this point, I'm going to announce what the agreement is, but tell me, you've entered a plea of no contest, or do you at this time enter a plea of no contest?
yes, sir.
All right, a plea of no contest in this court is considered a guilty plea and is sufficient for me to convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. My understanding of the agreement is that you are sentenced you're granted 15 months deferred adjudication. You'll pay a $400 fine plus court costs. You will do 40 hours of community service restitution. You'll do the BIT program, the batterers program. You'll have no contact with Jasmine Vasquez. At this time, I will hear the defense on the issue of affirmative finding of family violence.
Judge, before we get to that, there's also a taking into consideration of cause number 666103. I don't think that was mentioned.
It was not, and that is correct, Your Honor.
666103.
Yes, sir.
For the record, case number 666103 is taken in consideration on this plea and is dismissed.
Okay.
I'm listening on family violence.
Judge, I'm asking on behalf of LeBaron and actually on behalf of, in an indirect way, on behalf of the complaining witness in this case, to not make a finding of affirmative family violence. The reason I'm asking you that is that the date of offense for this was April 6th of 2019. Within several weeks of that date, which is 2.5 years ago, the complaining witness on her own, without any contact from me, came into my office and presented me with her own affidavit of non-prosecution, stating that basically she initiated the problem. She was at fault. He was asleep. She threw cold water on him and pulled him out of bed, and that he reacted to that. And the next thing is, sometimes by history, at least between these two people, you can tell something is going on or not. Nothing has happened adversarial between these two people for 2.5 years. They are not in contact and don't plan to be. He'll be living with his grandmother, who I have met and have talked with many times. They do not have, Jasmine and LeBaron don't have a relationship anymore. And I will represent to the court that as recently as probably 2 weeks ago, the complaining witness was contacting me still, trying to make sure that nothing happened to LeBaron on this case. And so with all those things considered, I am representing to you that this is probably not the case for an affirmative finding of family violence, that this was just an unfortunate incident that happened between two people that were probably too young to know how to handle things better and handle it in the worst possible way.
Do you, Mr. Paschal, do you have family with Jasmine Vasquez?
No, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. It was yes or no, sir?
No, sir.
No. All right. Do you have family with somebody else?
No, sir.
You do not.
Well, he lives with his grandmother.
I understand, but the children, I'm saying, does he have children? That's the big, the impact of affirmative finding of family violence is severe restrictions on access to children. In my opinion, I only did family law for 41 years. All right, state, can you give me a significant reason why we should do an affirmative finding of family violence if there's no children between Mr. Paschal and the alleged victim, and the victim saying, I don't want him prosecuted, and he doesn't have any other children? Why do we want to do the family violence finding?
Sorry, Your Honor, it took me a minute to get unmuted. Your Honor, the state is requesting the affirmative finding of family violence due to largely of the nature of their relationship, the dating component of that. In addition, I do see notes in the case file that say we had previously been contacted by the complaining witness stating that she was guilted into signing the affidavit of non-prosecution by Mr. Paschal's family. I think at a later time she recanted that, but I think just overall it was a bad situation that the state would be requesting that affirmative finding.
Okay. Mr. Paschal, for the next 15 months, you already know that you're not to have any contact with Ms. Vasquez, right?
I don't know.
Yes, sir.
You're also not to have possession or ownership of any firearms during that period. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, I am adding that, which means it is a greater burden than you agreed to. If you want to, you can start all over again. But I am going to add that as a little precaution. I don't want to read in the paper that you went and shot up this woman or her family. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you accept that, or do you want to start all over again? Mr. Piker?
Oh, I accept it, Judge. I think that's a reasonable request, or not request, but I think that's a reasonable part of the order.
Mr. Paschal, I didn't hear what you had to say.
By
Did
not
you understand?
accepting-
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I get it. By not accepting, then like you said, like it would start over, then where am I starting from? My days in the county, or just regarding the plea bargain?
Judge, if I could answer that for him, LeBaron, what the judge is saying is that do you want to start over from trying to make some other kind of deal? Or do you accept that during the 15 months you're on deferred, you will not have any firearms, ammunition, access to them, be around them, or be associated with anyone with them? Do you agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree or not agree?
Yes, I agree.
You're on mute.
I believe I heard him say, yes, he does agree.
He did, Judge.
All right, then that'll end this this proceeding.
Your Honor, did you
Yes,
assess the
ma'am.
supervisory fee?
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Paschal, what kind of money do you make? I know you're not making any in the jail, but what kind of money what kind of income do you have when you're out of jail?
Buddy,
Get paid every 2 weeks. Around $11.50 an hour.
I'm having trouble hearing you, sir.
Send it so I can get.
Every 2 weeks,
I
bi-weekly,
got 6 months.
$11.50 to $12 an hour.
What do you make once a month?
$1,425 maybe.
All right. Your supervisory fee is gonna be $25 a month. Already? That'll go well, I'm sure the state will have in place a thumbprint on the documents, Patty, there at the jail.
Yes, sir.
All right.